Imagine for a moment reaching into your pocket, pulling out a handful of change and glancing down at a simple worn penny. It looks ordinary. Just another copper-colored coin that's been passed from hand to hand for decades, tossed into jars, lost beneath couch cushions, or swept into piggy banks. But what if hidden in that small circle of metal was a secret? One that could unlock a breathtaking fortune. What if one of those overlooked pennies could be worth nearly $1 million? Sound impossible? Stay with me, because the world of rare coins is filled with stories just like this. Stories where history, accident, and a keen eye for detail combine to create outsized wealth from the humblest currency. Certain pennies from the last 70 years have stunned collectors and investors by reaching astronomical values at auction. Far from being flukes, their staggering prices are grounded in key factors: minting errors, scarcity, immaculate condition, and ever-growing demand from passionate collectors. Their stories are not just tales of luck, but reminders of the importance of curiosity, diligence, and awareness in a world that often overlooks the smallest treasures. Let's begin with one of the most legendary coins in American numismatic circles, the 1979 D small date Lincoln cent. At first glance, it appears just like billions of other pennies produced that year by the Denver Mint. But look closely. So closely you almost need a magnifying glass. If your penny's date appears slightly smaller, the numbers tighter and more compact than usual, you might have just discovered a rare, small date variety. What makes it so special? Among the billions of 1979 pennies, only a fraction was struck with this small date error, especially from Denver's production. But rarity is only part of the story. In the world of coin collecting, condition is everything. The most valuable 1979 D small date pennies have never circulated. They boast a bright, almost fiery red coloration and have no scratches or imperfections. In one jaw-dropping auction, a pristine specimen graded MS67PLRD fetched nearly $900,000, a price that eclipses the value of many family homes. Why do collectors pay such enormous sums for these coins? The answer lies in scarcity and desire. As years pass, coins are lost, damaged, or simply wear out, making examples in flawless condition incredibly rare. Combine that with the fierce competition among collectors to own a finest known specimen, and you have a recipe for skyrocketing values. Yet most of these rare coins are not found in elaborate museum displays. They often remain hidden in unassuming places: an old cigar box, a forgotten jar of spare change, a drawer in your grandparents' home. Every time you sift through a handful of pennies from decades past, there's a small but very real chance you could stumble onto financial freedom. Let's fast forward just a few years to 1968, the era of classic cars, moon landings, and a minting mystery that would baffle and delight numismatists for about decades. That year, most Lincoln cents bore a D for Denver or S for San Francisco on the obverse, making their origins easy to trace. But in an extraordinary mistake, a few 1968 pennies intended for the San Francisco Mint were struck without the elusive mint mark. Only a handful of these 1968 no-S Lincoln cents have ever been authenticated, and due to their extreme rarity, they have sold for as much as $805 apiece. What distinguishes a genuine, valuable 1968 no-S penny from an ordinary Philadelphia minted coin, which also lacks a mint mark? It's a subtle matter best left to professional graders. Experts who scrutinize even the tiniest details, like die characteristics unique to certain mints. That's why if you think you found one, resist any urge to clean or improve the coin. Cleaning diminishes its value, sometimes catastrophically. Instead, submit it untouched to a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. The right validation paired with a rare error can mean the difference between pocket change and life-changing wealth. And always be vigilant as counterfeiters prey on hopeful finders. The legacy of rare pennies doesn't end in the Southern Change in 1982. another minting era emerged that would become a grail for collectors. The 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln cent with a double die obverse, or DDO. Over 1 billion pennies were struck that year, mainly at the Philadelphia Mint, but only a precious few display doubling. An era where faint, offset lines create a shadow around details like the date, the word liberty, or in God we trust. One such coin changed hands at auction for a staggering $888,000. These double-die errors are especially valuable because they were quite difficult to catch during the fast-paced coin production of the time. Most ended up in circulation, used to buy gum or rides on the bus. Many were lost before collectors caught on to the value of such mistakes. Now, decades later, they are the focus of relentless searches, with dedicated collectors examining pennies under magnification in hopes of finding fortune. In a subtle shift of design, perhaps you have a 1975 D penny in your collection. Over 4.5 billion were minted in Denver that year, so many that the odds would seem astronomical against any individual coin being special. Yet, once again, errors make all the difference. A tiny number was struck on the wrong metal blanks, or displayed dramatic mistakes like off-center strikes or double impressions. Particularly sharp, red, uncirculated specimens, or those struck in error, have sold for up to $882,000 at auction. The lesson here is that rarity, combined with striking features and preserved condition, can push even the most common coins into new territory for value. Another chapter in this ongoing story of treasure is the 1976 no-mint mark penny. Bicentennial celebrations dominated that year, and mint production was running at full tilt. Still, a few error coins managed to escape into the world, missing the telltale D or S, usually indicating their origins. A 1976 Lincoln cent with no mint mark found in excellent condition is exceptionally valuable, fetching as much as $873,000 from determined collectors. With only a tiny handful having survived decades of routine spending, such coins are almost mythic. Yet they have been found, sometimes by complete accident, in the pockets of ordinary people. As we move into the 1980s and 90s, some might expect that the era of rare, valuable coins would come to a close. After all, the United States Mint had improved quality control, and billions of pennies were being produced each year. Yet, even as late as 1982, astonishing mistakes slipped through. A batch of 1982 Lincoln cents, accidentally missing the dia mint mark, were issued before anyone caught the error. These now constitute some of the rarest modern American coins, with one 1982 no mint mark penny recently valued at $868,000. By the close of the 1980s, another extraordinary opportunity arose with the 1988 D penny. Among the billions struck in Denver, a handful featured a die error so distinct that when discovered, it set the numismatic world abuzz. Coins with this error, often involving double designs or minor, unique anomalies, have commanded incredible premiums, with the finest examples selling for up to $861,000. The paradigm here holds steady. Coins that are extremely rare, untouched by circulation, and authenticated by grading services are in persistent, growing demand. The 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny serves as a final, compelling entry in this series of modern penny miracles. Most 1994 pennies left the mint with a D or S to record their origin. But a rare error allowed a handful to escape with no mint mark at all. Initially overlooked, these coins began to command attention in the early 2000s as collectors realized their rarity. The market responded with fury, pushing individual prices up to $856,000, not for any flaw visible to the naked eye, but simply for a quirk in mint history and the scarcity that followed. So, what does this mean for you? Are these million-dollar pennies fantastical, unreachable prizes, or real opportunities that you could seize? The answer depends on perspective and action. Most people never check their loose change, assuming lightning never strikes twice. Yet, every year, coins like these are rediscovered, sometimes by skilled collectors, other times by regular people cleaning out your old drawers or sifting through laundry lint traps. Imagine paying off your mortgage, starting a new business, or funding your child's education with a copper coin nobody else thought twice about. That possibility, slim as it may be, becomes reality only for those who stay curious and look closely. If you're inspired to join the search, remember these golden rules of rare coin collecting. Always handle coins gently, never clean or polish them, and have any unusual find authenticated by a reputable grading company before making decisions. Be cautious with anyone offering free evaluations and avoid hasty sales to the first bidder. The market for rare pennies is alive and fiercely competitive. Your penny might fund your future, but only if you act wisely and deliberately. In the last, these stories aren't just about old coins or lucky finds. They're about the value of staying alert, the life-changing power of paying attention, and the rich histories woven into the smallest, most ordinary things. Rare coins are reminders that fortune sometimes favors the curious. Tonight, before you cast aside your loose change or drop another penny into the jar, pause and take a second look. That next penny, dull and unassuming though it seems, could be the beginning of a brand new chapter. One stamped with the remarkable legacy of American numismatics and the promise of life-changing discovery. Will you be the one to find it?